Hello everyone, anomalousDucky here. Today I'm going to give you all some insight and tips for playing the People's Republic of China in ROBLOX Rise of Nations. Without further ado, let's start this. China is the second most powerful country in Rise of Nations, only being slightly beaten by the United States. It is also one of the few nations that require a certain amount of XP to play as, so if you are under 250,000 XP, you can't play as China. Go farm some XP on servers that are really old and have one player so you can gain some really quickly. Even if you have enough XP to play as China already, good luck picking it fast enough. It is usually one of the first countries people will try to snipe, so the only way you can get a chance of playing it is actually just creating a new server, and even then, you have to hope that your internet is quick enough as to where you can select it first. It might require a lot of server hopping to even get the chance to play. You're pretty limited when it comes to alternatives, as if you go on an older server, China is most likely divided between 30 different countries that all declared independence from them in some great war from a couple years back. More on how to prevent this later. Anyways, if you manage to select China before anyone else does, congratulations! Now here's how you can effectively play as China. Hold on, actually, before we move on, let it be known that I actually had to use a private server to even get this footage. Trust me, it's ridiculous how fast people get to pick China. It's either they have some sort of insanely fast reflexes, or my internet is actually too slow as to where it's virtually impossible for me to even pick China. Moving on, the first thing you want to do is head over to your military tab and select Specialization and the Strategic Bombing Doctrines. Trust me, these are incredibly useful, and I recommend going for them both as fast as you can, not just for China, but for any country you play as. Make sure to select Specialization first, and do it before you even make any more divisions. China is also one of the few nations in the game to have a starting ideology that isn't non-aligned. They start out as socialist, so it's up to you if you want to change it or not. Remember though, stability is 10 times more important as China, so take your time when changing ideologies, and don't change your ideology during war. Diplomatically, your first order of business should be to justify a war goal on Taiwan and Mongolia so you can get an easy formidable nation, the Qing dynasty. After that, go after the two small city-states that count as countries in this game, Hong Kong and Macau. The war goal will only take 25 days because they're city-states, so they're easy to pick off at the start and they will give you a small boost. Especially Hong Kong, as Hong Kong is a pretty huge city. After that, it's up to you where you want to expand. Since I was in a private server, I had free reign over what I wanted to do, so I invaded North and South Korea. Invading Korea is pretty good, but Japan might have already gotten parts of Korea by the time you annex Mongolia and Taiwan, so you might not make it in time. Speaking of Japan, they can also be invaded easily as long as they don't have really good allies. However, Japan is still really powerful and has huge cities. In fact, they have the largest city in the entire game, Tokyo. To take out these huge cities, I recommend bringing huge divisions. Around 300,000, 500,000, and if you really want to push it, maybe even 1 million. If you have large divisions, whatever city you walk over will almost immediately be under your occupation. This strategy is really good for trying to capture Tokyo. After you capture Tokyo using this mega division strat, click on the division, hold shift, click around while holding shift, and press form line to split the mega division into smaller ones. When there are so many troops on the screen as to where it can overwhelm any player, you've pretty much won. Be careful though, Japan is a thin strip of land, so you might have to be quick and micromanage some of your troops before the stupid AI decides to make them ride boats just to go from one city to another. There's also another important aspect of playing China, resistance. While resistance is important to every country, for China, it is easily 10 times more important as I mentioned before. China has something that is unique to it, the USA, and only a few other countries like the United Kingdom and France, but China has it far worse than any of those other countries. Almost all of the Chinese homeland is cores of other nations such as Tibet, Xinjiang, Anhui, Manchuria, and even Fujian. Having these countries inside of the Chinese homeland declaring independence from you is usually the end of any Chinese player's run, so make sure to keep stability in check and war exhaust at a minimum. You do not want any of these countries declaring independence from you. Speaking of war exhaust, I recently discovered that it's not based on who you are at war with or how long you are at war, but instead how many casualties you take in a war. This means that you want to keep casualties to a minimum. The only time this war exhaust mechanic should become a huge issue is if you are at war with another strong nation such as India, the United States, and even Russia. If you want to invade India, it is best to do it from the east where Burma is located. With that being said though, you would have to conquer Southeast Asia first to even open that new front line. Try and get as many troops in Yunnan, the area above Vietnam, and then completely slaughter Vietnam's capital city as it is undefended at the start of the game. All the Vietnamese troops are located at Ho Chi Minh City, and there are 120,000 in total. After that, try to get the Vietnamese AI or players' attention by bringing his troops to you and easily kill them with your mega divisions. After that, mass assault on Vietnam. Be careful as Vietnam is a thin strip of land like Japan, so your AI troops will try to get in boats and waste your time again. After Vietnam is over with, Laos and Cambodia are easy targets. Take them over as you would any other country. Burma is also pretty easy to take over, but they have a lot of coastal cities, so it will take longer to take them over as your troops will have to use boats to relocate to those coastal cities. I wouldn't recommend trying to take Nepal and Bhutan as they don't really have good amounts of cities or populations, so it's more of a waste of time. If you're in a private server by yourself, then yeah, just go for it, but in a public server, I would not recommend it. I wouldn't recommend invading Central Asia, i.e. Kazakhstan, either, because it might anger Russia, and plus it's really not worth having to relocate troops all the way through the Himalayas. By all means, you can make more troops in the Xinjiang area, but still, Russia and their Soviet desires might back you off from invading. However, Russia is actually not that powerful at the start of the game, at least compared to you. Russia could still take a long time to invade because they have cities that are all apart, all over the place, and they're just really big in general. If you want to be a really aggressive player and expand quickly, you can take over Russia and steamroll Siberia before the Russian player has a chance to make troops there. Make sure to remember about war exhaust as well. On the contrary, you can ally Russia and expand your influence, which is generally what I would recommend instead. Oh, and speaking of the Himalayas, let's talk research. When it comes to research, I recommend going down the infantry speed tree as quickly as you can. The faster your divisions are, the better off you will be. Your divisions need to be fast as the terrain in this game can make them come to a halt almost, and it's extremely frustrating having to wait to relocate your troops. Additionally, you should increase research speed as it's also a given. Before we end off, I also want to stress that the building recruitment centers is really helpful as China. They have a huge manpower pool anyways, but extra help couldn't hurt, right? So anyways, hold control, zoom out, and drag across your entire country, press buildings, and then recruitment center. You'll probably have to do this a couple times later game though, since China has so many cities that it will cost a lot more money to do this. Well, that's about all I have to say for China. China is an extremely powerful and influential nation in Rise of Nations. It can be utilized greatly, and is extremely fun to play, especially in a private server. I managed to make an East Asian empire in just under an hour. If you have fast internet, so you can actually, pick the country first, and have 250,000 XP on hand, China is a great choice. Anyways, I'll see you all in the next How to Play video. Goodbye. Wait. Hold on. Before you go, I have something to tell you. If you look at the pinned comment and description of this video, you'll find a Discord invite. Yes, me and my friends made our official anomalousDucky Discord, and we'd really like if you drop by. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff on it in the next few days, like play some Rise of Nations, do server events. We're going to have a lot of stuff to do, and since I can't live stream, I'll probably just record our videos of the experiences that we have in the private servers on that server that we play on and stuff. So yeah, if you want to join, link in the description and in the top pinned comment. So yeah, I hope you drop by, and I'll see you there. Anyways, for real, bye-bye.